What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here, and it is a very nice victory Sunday here today. The Wolverines pick up a big one on the road against Nebraska, 30-27, although that score should not have been that close, as Michigan absolutely dominated in this one. Did have some self-inflicting wounds in this one that allowed Nebraska to keep it close, but for the most part, Michigan dominated in this one, and they definitely got some mistakes, discipline issues to take care of, also clock management issues to take care of. Obviously Biff Poggi before halftime, but you have got to love the way this team, dealt with the adversity on the road, bounced back in the second half to pick up this huge road win. And what a game it was for this Michigan rushing attack. 286 yards led by Justice Haynes, Jordan Marshall, and Bryce Underwood. And let's just go ahead and start with that. Justice Haynes led the way with 17 carries, 149 yards, and 1 touchdown. He now has had 4 100-yard rushing games here in his first 4 games with the Wolverines. And I tell you what, if he keeps this up, performing this way every single game, he may be in the Heisman conversation soon. 537 yards, 6 touchdowns, 8.1 yards per carry so far this season, only through 4 games. I mean, he is an absolute beast out there for the Wolverines. He not only goes out there and can get the tough yards, but he can hit the home run, and he's shown it a lot already this season. Even Poggi said postgame that he has good vision, has excellent acceleration, and as you see, we've played at some really good places with good, fast secondary players. He showed finishing speed. So Justice Haynes, no doubt, may be in consideration for the Heisman conversation soon, especially if he continues to put up 100+ rushing yard games like this and continues to rack up the touchdowns. But Jordan Marshall, got to give him credit. He had a big, long touchdown run and also sealed the deal at the end of the game. He had some nice, tough runs, 6 carries, 80 yards, and 1 touchdown. It was nice to see him finally get going, and we finally got to see that two-headed monster out of Haynes and Marshall on display, which is exactly what I thought we might see with this Nebraska rushing defense heading into this game. And then Bryce Underwood also had 8 carries for 61 yards and 1 touchdown. That one play following the Cole Sullivan interception, right away, first play, Bryce Underwood takes off, and nobody even around. That was an absolutely beautiful play and a nice run right there from Bryce Underwood. So the rushing attack, it was there. 286 rushing yards. Michigan had 391 total yards. They only had 105 passing yards, but as we were saying going into this game, it seemed more and more likely that Michigan was going to be having more success on the ground. That Nebraska secondary is elite. They are experienced, and their run defense has been a weakness all season long so far, and Michigan exploited it today, which is exactly what they had to do. But Michigan dominated in the trenches. That was another big thing in this one, both on the defensive line and on the offensive line. One guy that really stood out was Greg Crippen, the center, opening up holes. One in particular on that Justice Haynes touchdown run before halftime. He had a great game against Nebraska. And overall, compared to the Oklahoma game, this Michigan offense definitely communicated better, I think. Bryce Underwood was poised, composed. He had no interceptions, did have that one fumble near the 50-yard line. That was really the only mistake from him, though. So, he didn't have a great game passing-wise, 12 for 22, 105 yards, but definitely could have had more, should have had a touchdown. Beautiful pass to Channing Goodwin. He dropped it. Also on that same drive, Samaj Morgan had a wide open Donovan McCulley. Was a little bit underthrown. Would have liked Donovan McCulley to, come back to the ball. He kind of ran his route like it was Bryce Underwood throwing the ball. So, you got to go back and catch that ball. I don't care if it's underthrown on a trick play like that. Got to go and catch the ball. But Donovan McCulley did have a great game. 3 receptions, 39 yards. Again, should have had probably close to 100 receiving yards, honestly, with that Samaj Morgan pass. Should have caught it. And then also that great catch that got reversed. They definitely could have given that to him and ruled that a catch. It was a very close play on the sideline, and he was the leading receiver for the Wolverines. Samaj Morgan had 2 receptions, 22 yards. Marlon Klein, 2 receptions, 21 yards. Ever heard of the sleeper app here's a little secret. It's more than just a platform for season-long fantasy leagues. The app offers so much more, and you can also make sleeper picks on the app. Football season is in full swing. We got some NFL games, but for all my Detroit Lions fans out there, Monday night against the Ravens, big game, and I am taking Derrick Henry to pick up a touchdown in this one, and then also Amon-Ra St. Brown to pick up a touchdown. That's just one example of many picks you can make with the sleeper app, and again, they offer so much more. You can use promo code MST. You'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Link down below in the description. Go ahead and check out Sleeper today. Third down efficiency was a big one in this one. Both teams really didn't have much success. Michigan went 4 for 12. Nebraska went 2 for 13. 2 for 3 on fourth down efficiency though. And this Michigan defense, my goodness, 7 sacks, 9 tackle for losses, and also had an interception, which was a great play by Jair Hill. Gotta catch that ball though, but he did, tip it up in the air. Cole Sullivan was right there. Cole Sullivan had a great game. He had 1 tackle for loss, and there was one defensive drive where he had 2 great tackles, especially on third down, to what should have been, forcing Nebraska to punt it. Then Brandon Hillman obviously got that penalty, but we saw this Michigan pass rush on display, and I tell you what, having Deshaun Barham on the edge, keep him over there. He is creating havoc every single play. He had another sack today, 2 tackle for losses, and when you look at these sacks here, this is a no-star defense. Ernest Hausman had a sack. Jimmy Rolder had a sack. Again, Deshaun Barham had a sack. Rashawn Benny had a great game. He had 1.5 sacks. Same with Derek Moore. Cameron Brandt had half a sack. And Inau Etta had half a sack. So this defensive line was giving Dylan Raiola all kinds of problems. He was getting pressured a lot in this one. Exactly what we needed to see in a great game from Wink Martindale. Michigan held Nebraska to 43 rushing yards. They did have 308 passing yards. Raiola made some plays. This Nebraska wide receiver corps is one of the best in the Big Ten, I think, and obviously had that Hail Mary at the end of the first half. Michigan should have won this game by a lot more. They probably should have won this game by 20 plus points, honestly, with the missed touchdown opportunity early in the game, 7 points given to Nebraska with the Hail Mary, and also the self-inflicted wounds. Again, Brandon Hillman getting that penalty, which don't agree, that should have been a penalty, but still, you got to be disciplined, and at the same time, though, as far as the refs, you got to let them play, and obviously Biff Poggi, again, with that clock mismanagement, should have called a timeout, so it forced them to punt it so they didn't get the Hail Mary off. That's something the coaching staff obviously learned in this one, but maybe it would have been a different outcome if head coach Sharon Moore was on the sidelines. Who knows? There's also some blown coverages defensively, so definitely a lot to clean up here for the Wolverines, but to be able to deal with that adversity, overcome those mistakes, there's going to be mistakes. It's about how you respond to them, how you deal with adversity, especially on the road, and I thought this team showed us that they can deal with adversity on the road. Even Biff Poggi said sometimes those things happen. What's most important is how do you respond from them. At halftime, I called him up before we went on the field and I told him, I know it's 17-17, but physically we're beating the snot out of them and we're turning this into a heavyweight fight, and that's going to be our big advantage in the second half. And he said, I think it was. He also said Bryce Underwood thought he played well. We had some drops, some key drops, but he made some excellent throws and some excellent runs. And he said the thing you don't see is his poise and leadership in the huddle and on the sideline, and I'm not exaggerating. There was not a doubt in anyone's minds on our sideline at any point that we were winning that game, and he was a big part of that. But, he said these kind of games can produce self-inflicted wounds. I mean, that's a good football team, right? We're on the road. We have a very young team, believe it or not, so you're going to get some of that. But it is another huge learning experience from this game for our team, which they will take and they will learn from, just like they did at Oklahoma. But all in all, a win is a win. You will take it however you can get it and however it looks on the road. And it was a big one for the Wolverines, going to 3-1 to start the season here, which is exactly what they needed to do, because you can make the case that Oklahoma and Nebraska are two of the three best teams Michigan will be facing this season. I think the three other key games here remaining is obviously at USC, Washington could be tough, and then obviously that Ohio State game at the end of the season, but we got them at home this year. And then also, to wrap up this video, how about the performance from Dominic Zavada, bouncing back 3 for 3 on field goals, including a 56-yard field goal. Props to him. He missed 2 field goals, and one in the Oklahoma game, another one in the Central Michigan game, but he bounced back, stepped up when we needed him to, so he had a big game, and Michigan definitely needed that performance from him. But Michigan gets a big win, 30-27. Absolutely dominated Nebraska in the trenches, especially the defensive line, and the Michigan running game went crazy in this one. But other than that, let me know your guys' takeaways and thoughts from this big road win. And with that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to go ahead, drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more. If you are new around here, I greatly appreciate it. And other than that, we will see you guys in the next video. Go Blue.